After that, in the evening, we can see Miho and Nakamura is walking in the market street. While they were walking and talking to each other, Miho noticed Okita and starts to walk closer to him. Nakamura tells to stop her, but she ran away. As Miho goes near Okita, she sees that Yuriko and Okita is talking to each other. As she sees that she and Nakamura hides behind some banners and starts to spy on them. Later on, Okita and Yuriko gets inside a cafe and orders coffee for them. Yuriko says sorry to Okita for this sudden meetup. She says that she was very curious about Okita, that she had no other choice. Okita get confused from the word of Yuriko. Yuriko then asked Okita if he had gotten a very powerful gate card in the dungeon that he cleared with Taira-san's team before his quitting. Okita gets a big shocked. Yuriko then changes the topic and shows the registered data to Okita and asked him if this is him who cleared all these 8 small dungeons. Okita replied with a yes and said that he was the one who cleared all those dungeons. By hearing Okita's reply, Yuriko gets surprised and asked him how did he cleared all those dungeons. Okita says that he was lucky that the dungeons were only filled with weak monsters. As he answers Yuriko's questions, he also gets curious that why Yuriko is asking all these questions. He then peeks at Yuriko's status window with his powers and see that Yuriko is worried about Okita and she thinks Okita as her little brother. By seeing this, Okita feels relief and he puts a nice smile on his face and said to Yuriko, "It is true that he is a low-ranked, unreliable Awakener, but he is not her little brother, so there is no need to worry so much." By hearing this, she gets a bit shocked and says that it is right that he is not her little brother, but she has a reason why she is worried about him. She then requests Okita to hear her story. Yuriko starts to tell Okita the story of her little brother who passed away inside a dungeon at the time when her little brother was a college student and had established an Awakener team for young students with abilities. Many outstanding students gathered in the team and cleared dungeons one after another. Furthermore, her brother successfully obtained one of the few confirmed rank cards in Japan. So many companies paid attention to him, and that was when an accident occurred. The rank card went berserk and the dungeon collapsed. Burying Yuriko-san's little brother and many others, though being an Awakener, is indeed a dangerous job. As long as one know their own limits, they can avoid the danger. However, if one hold a rare card that vastly outstrips their own abilities one day, they won't be able to control it. After the destroy, she says that when she thought that Okita might have obtained a rare card, she couldn't help but think of her little brother. After hearing all her words, Okita gets that she is truly worried about him. He then says sorry to Yuriko for worrying her. He also says that he has been really lucky that the dungeons he had cleared are all easy ones, and also tells her that if he had gotten any powerful card, he wouldn't quit the company. Okita then shows her a F-rank magic missile gate card and tells that this is his card that he bought with his severance pay. Yuriko takes the card and with her spectacles of insight judgment lens checks the status of the cards and see that the card is original as according to Okita's words. Yuriko then returns the card to Okita and again apologized to him for worrying too much. Okita says that it's not a problem, and it also makes him happy that someone worries about him. After that, they get out of the cafe. As they steps outside, Nakamura comes and says hello to them. Miho also shows herself and comes and greets Okita. Okita also say hello to both of them. Nakamura then asked Okita why he is not surprised to see them. Okita didn't say anything, but the real reason he was not surprised by seeing them is that he has already noticed them with his powers. Nakamura then questioned them if they are on a date. Yuriko replied that it's not something like that. After hearing this, Miho offers Okita to have a meal with everyone after this. As Nakamura hears this, he tells Miho that she should not disturb them. In the meantime, Okita peeks at Nakamura's status and sees that he is interested in Miho. Okita then stops both of them and said that if they both get along with someone like him who quit the company, their evaluation will go down. He then said that as he has finished his business with Yuriko, he will be leaving now, and after says bye to all of them, he leaves. As he was going to his home, he was thinking that, as he cleared so many dungeons, he got in the eyes of the companies. So, he decides to be more cautious, as getting involved with any company will be a problem for him. On the other hand, we can see Noguchi MD, the lady is talking to Taira about Okita, but Taira refused to say anything about Okita, and leaves them. As Taira leaves them behind, Noguchi and the lady sees the news of Okita, clearing many small dungeons, and as they sees this, they gets pissed off from Okita's success. As Taira refused them to do something about the matters of Okita, so they decided to goes to the director Serizawa. According to their plan, they goes to director Serizawa's room. They goes to him, and that they have a complaint about Okita the boy who recently quit the company. Noguchi says that Okita has been getting in their way of clearing the dungeons, and he has been abusing their company name to get into the dungeons. By hearing this, Serizawa asked Noguchi what he is trying to do so in this matter. Noguchi replied that he wants to put some pressure on Okita so that he won't get ahead of himself anymore. Serizawa gets up from his seat and said that it is right. And he also said to Noguchi that, as he is using their company's name in this matter, he should be sure to completely crush Okita. Noguchi replied that he will do is smoothly. On Okita's side, we can see he is going to the jurisdiction of the Awakener Supervisory Board, Dungeon Public Corporation. This is one of the dungeon corporations the government manages. Once a dungeon is discovered, it gets registered here and freelancer. Awakeners can get permission to delve into it. The owner of the building can also directly employ Awakeners, just like Matsuda-san did with Okita. But it's far more common to go through the Dungeon Corporation. Okita goes inside the building, and as he log in his profile to check for any dungeon available, he sees that there is not a single dungeon that he can delve into. After seeing this, he peeks the profile of the person sitting next to him and sees that this person has 16 dungeons that he can delve into. He then again checks others' profile and sees that they all have dungeons that they can go in. Okita then goes to the General Information Center and asks the man sitting there if there is problem with his profile as it is not showing and dungeons that he can delve into. The man then searched for Okita's profile in his computer, and after seeing Okita's profile, the man straightforwardly said that the Clearwater company that he quitted recently is making problems in his dungeon delving. The man then asked Okita if he had quit the company with some sort of grudges and said that it is common for major companies to bow things like this. Okita then asked the man that will not be able to delve any dungeon form now on. The man said that there is a dungeon showing in his profile that he can delve. By hearing this, Okita quickly tells the man to let him join the dungeon. The man replied that he will be in a contested case with Clearwater for this dungeon. Contested case means multiple teams will be competing for a single dungeon. This requires the dungeon owner to offer more rewards than usual. It's a method often adopted for large dungeon conduring to increase the probability of clearing a difficult dungeon. However, in this case, it's obvious that their objective is to crush Okita. Okita then thinks a bit about whose work it would be. In his head, he was thinking of Noguchi and the lady. But whatever the case is, Okita decides to delve the dungeon. The dungeon is C-ranked. As Okita enter the dungeon, he meet up with Noguchi and Hirayama. As the both of them see Okita, they starts to mock him about his glasses. But Okita didn't do anything and talked to them nicely. Noguchi then said, Okita that how stupid he is to take a contested case against Clearwater. He also tells Okita to go to the other route to the dungeon. Okita then leaves them and finds another route. As he was about to enter the route, he senses some monsters' presence. He saw 2 Math Ox, which are D-rank monsters, coming towards him. He then draws his Cerulean Swordsman card and skills the 2 Mad Ox in one slash. As he kills them, he saw that a hound of Mad Ox has come and charges towards him. But it was not a challenge for him, as with the help of the swordsman, he kills all of the monsters easily and make his way to the 11th floor of the dungeon. where the dungeon boss is. The dungeon boss is Centaurus, which is a B-rank monster. Okita looks for any other members, but as he didn't find anyone, he draws his cerulean swordsman and kills the boss in a slash. On the other hand, in the third floor of the dungeon, Noguchi and his team is facing difficulty in defeating the D-rank Mad Oxes. After they cleared the third floor, monsters they were taking rest and drinking water as they were talking to each other. They see that the building is turning to normal. By seeing this, they gets a huge shock that the dungeon is already cleared. As the building completely turns normal, Okita gets in the lift and pressed the first floor button. While getting down to the first floor, he was thinking that clearing this dungeon takes more time than he expected. As the lift reaches the first floor, and as its door opens, Okita meets with Noguchi and his party members. By seeing them, Okita wants to slip past them by. Noguchi noticed him and tells him to stop. Okita then puts an innocent smile in his face and asked, "Noguchi, why are they still on this floor?" Okita also tells them that as they were so slow, so he went ahead and defeated the dungeon boss for their sake. By hearing Okita cleared the dungeon, Noguchi and the other gets shocked that how can he alone cleared the dungeon in a so short time frame. By making everyone shocked, Okita leaves the dungeon. As Okita leaves, Noguchi and Hirayama couldn't believe in his achievement. Hirayama guessed that as Okita is well known about the structure of the buildings, so he might have found a shortcut route and used it to get to the dungeon boss so quickly. After that, Noguchi tells Hirayama that they should quickly go to the company and again pull some strings so that Okita again enters a dungeon with them. As Okita leaves, he goes to the general information guy and tells him that he cleared the dungeon. As the guy hears this, he gets shocked and starts to thoroughly check out the Mana Stone. Okita then asked him if there is another dungeon that he can enter. The guy said that there is another dungeon that he can enter, but it is also a contested case, dungeon with the clear water. By hearing this, Okita gets excited and tells him to quickly enroll him. Okita then goes to the dungeon, and he effortlessly gets to the dungeon boss floor. This dungeon boss is a B-rank boarhead monster. Okita summons his cerulean swordsman, and as the swordsman appears, he unleashed his divine speed sword draw technique and kills the boss with it. As the building turns normal, Okita then comes to the first floor, and again he sees Noguchi and Hirayama. They also get shocked that how can a mere F-rank Awakener can clear the dungeon faster than him. Then on to the next dungeon. It is a D-rank dungeon, and again like the others, Okita cleared the dungeon effortlessly with his cerulean swordsman gate card, and again after the dungeon turns normal, and as he gets to the first floor he meets with Noguchi and Hirayama again, shocks them. As Noguchi and Hirayama gets to the headquarters of the clear water, Noguchi gets so angry that he starts to kick the dustbin. Hirayama tells that it would be very bad for them, as they are still unable to crush Okita even after using Director Serizawa's name. Noguchi then tells to Hirayama that they have no choice but to set up traps for Okita. While Noguchi and Hirayama was discussing about this, Nakamura was behind them, and he clearly hears everything. He gets worried about Okita and goes to a corner and calls Okita and tells him that Noguchi and Hirayama are planning to crush him. He also said he heard that they will be directly crush him in the dungeon. Okita then thanks Nakamura for this info. In the meantime, Hirayama comes to the corner and sees that Nakamura is talking to someone. Then, as she gets close to him, she hears him talking to Okita, Hirayama. Then thinks that all of this time, Nakamura has been informing Okita about their plans. She then decided to change their plan and decides to use Nakamura to lure Okita into their trap. As Nakamura finished talking to Okita gets out of the corner, he sees Hirayama standing out. Hirayama then asked Nakamura that she has a favor to ask of him. Then we can see Okita and entered a C-rank dungeon. As he enters, he again meets up with Noguchi and Hirayama, and this time Nakamura was also there with them. By seeing Nakamura, Okita gets shocked and asked him why he is here with Noguchi and Hirayama. Nakamura said that after he finished talking with him, they invited him to their team and said that they want to clear the dungeon before Okita does it with a fluke. Nakamura also said that he joined them so that he can accomplish something and show it to Miho to impress her. Okita then warns him that to not let his guard down as they might do something at any time. As they were talking, Noguchi calls Nakamura as they will be going now. Nakamura then goes with them. As he left, Okita feels that, as Nakamura is so hyped up to clear the dungeon, so he should let the clear water clear the dungeon today. But his gut feeling is indicating of a dangerous situation,